What's up, guys? This is Hanna Horror, and today, guys, I want to talk about 5 horror movie sequels that I really enjoy. Now, these are going to be excluding the big 3, Michael, Jason, and Freddy, and we're not going to have any of that going on in here, but these are going to be 5 that I really love, and I know that there are fan bases out there, but for anybody who sees this video that maybe has said, oh, I haven't tried that yet, or I heard bad things about that, but I'm here to give a voice of optimism for said films and to say check these films out. These are out of order. These are just 5 that I love, but the number 1 that I have is going to be a banger, I think, so we'll let you guys see that when we get there. Alright, the first horror movie sequel that I like is actually a part 3, and we're going to talk about Psycho 3. Skipping 2 for this, because 2 is a beloved favorite film. Is Psycho 3 as good as Psycho 2? Probably not. What I do like about Psycho 3, though, is it falls in the tropes of all the 80s. It falls in the tropes of what 80s slashers were like, the way they looked, the way they sounded. And I love Psycho 3 for that. Psycho 3 is the 80s slasher of the bunch, and I love it for that. Some really great gore scenes in here, some really great tense moments with the dead body in the ice chest in Psycho 3. We also have a girl from Friday the 13th, Part 5 in Psycho 3, and some great characters. There's a great story for Psycho 3 with the nun who gets banished from the church, and really fun stuff. So while it doesn't equate to the magnitude of what Psycho 2 did, Psycho 3 is a fun watch for any fan of slasher movies, and it's fun, and I don't think it has any insult to Part 2 at all, because I mean, and you could argue that making a Part 2 was crazy to begin with to a movie like Psycho, but because Part 2 was so great and Part 3 has a lot of enjoyability on my behalf, I'd say that Psycho 3 is pretty rad. So if you haven't checked out Psycho 3 or haven't watched it in a while, I do say go back and give it a shot. Alright, the next movie on my list, guys, is a movie called Army of Darkness. Now, I am one of those people that absolutely adores Army of Darkness. It is my favorite movie. I like Evil Dead. I love Evil Dead 2, and I adore Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness basically is nothing like the first Evil Dead. You could argue that Part 2 is almost a remake of the first Evil Dead, and they had to rehash a lot of things for it. But Army of Darkness is this crazy, wild experience. It almost feels like a live play, especially during the first half, because it's this medieval setting, and Sam Raimi went above and beyond to make a great scenery for Army of Darkness. And there's so many great effects in here, so many great optical effects, fantastic practical effects. When Ash gets thrown into the pit in the beginning, it is cinematic gold to me. It's some of my favorite stuff personally in the entire Evil Dead franchise. I would say that Evil Dead is a franchise that has no sins whatsoever. I like Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and I love, love, love the Evil Dead reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. But this is my personal favorite, Army of Darkness. If you haven't checked this movie out in a long time, definitely go for it. I don't think it was a smash hit at the box office when it came out. Might have something to do with the title, but this movie definitely has a cult following now, and it's my personal favorite, so definitely check out Army of Darkness. The next movie, guys, is a movie called Creepshow 2. I absolutely love Creepshow 2. I adore the first Creepshow. It's my absolute favorite Creepshow. I tell you what, though, the television show that Shudder did is my favorite thing ever for Creepshow. I fell in love with that. But when it comes to the movies, I think Part 2 is excellent. I think it definitely holds up with the first Creepshow, and there's some great stuff in here. You've got Old Chief Woodenhead, which is this charming, loving story about this guy running the store, and then you've got this kid coming through town, and he's ready to go to Hollywood and make a name for himself, so he just robs this store because he thinks he can get away with anything, and he defaces and ruins everything, and then this Old Chief Woodenhead statue comes to life and goes to war, and it's great, and it's charming. And then you got stuff like The Raft, which is so creepy. It makes you not want to get in the water, I can promise you that. And just great stuff in here. I think Creepshow 2 is awesome. Now, I've heard Creepshow 3 is so bad it makes people angry, and I'll never watch Creepshow 3 because of that. But Creepshow 2, I do say, is absolutely fantastic, and it definitely has to be better than Creepshow 3. I haven't seen Creepshow 3, but that's by design. Now, Tales from the Dark Side is a movie we'll talk about soon when the Blu-ray comes out, but for now, I do say give Creepshow 2 another viewing if it's been a while or if you haven't seen it. I think it's great. Alright, the next movie is one that I really enjoy, but I always find people saying, oh, I didn't know that existed, or, oh, I never watched that. The Fly 2 is one of my favorite horror movie sequels. I think this movie is fantastic. Now, does it touch the Cronenberg's 86 Fly? No. That's okay. It doesn't always have to just compete. It doesn't always have to just live up to. I do think that The Fly 2 has some great stuff in here. Now, Eric Stoltz is the guy that was fired from Back to the Future. Unfortunately, that's like one of his biggest calling cards in Hollywood. Everybody just remembers that. But Eric Stoltz is fantastic in The Fly 2. He's got some great stuff in here. His performance is good. And this movie's just charming. This movie is fun. It's a late 80s movie. And, you know, some of the special practical effects in here look amazing. I watched this documentary about The Fly 2. It's on YouTube. Just type in Fly 2 documentary and you can find it. This movie had some really insanely awesome practical effects. And they've got a killer monster dog that looks really funny in The Fly 2. Really nasty and just B-movie type. But really enjoyable. I think any horror movie fan could get some enjoyment out of The Fly 2, some more than others, but I say for me, I absolutely love The Fly 2. I revisit it often. And the number one sequel I have on this list that I love, and I would love for you guys to check out if you haven't seen it in a while, Amityville 2, The Possession. Now, I had seen the first Amityville years ago, and then I finally got the Blu-ray set, which was going out of print, and I had subs left and right saying, Christian, go for part 2, trust me, trust me, trust me. This movie is amazing. It almost has no right to be this good because the first Amityville, I think, is a great horror movie, period. I think it's a great classic, everything. Amityville 2 just kind of says, hold my beer, if you will, and just goes above and beyond. And I think Amityville 2 does some amazing things. And whenever you think the movie's about to end, no, we're just getting started. We get it cranked up even more. There's some really bizarre family stuff in here. The tension is just as thick as the first one, if not more. And I can't say enough good things about Amityville 2. It is that good. If you guys have not seen Amityville 2, The Possession, trust me, the hype is real. So check out Amityville 2. What are some horror movie sequels that you love that you don't see getting talked about enough? Now, I'm not saying that those movies aren't talked about, but those are 5 that I love that I'm in a sequel mood right now. I've been watching a lot of horror movie sequels, and those are some I love and would like to revisit. What are some that you love? I would love to know. Drop them in the comment section below so we can get a great array of some horror movie sequels for everybody to check out. This is Christian Hanna Horror. Thank you guys for watching this video. I love you. We'll see you next time.